guys, welcome to Lindsey Loves Designs and my very first studio vlog. Now, as you can see, and the captions probably told you, today's the day to set up my very new SawGrass SG500 sublimation printer. I'm currently unboxing the inks. The inks you get in this box are, as standard, black, magenta, cyan and yellow. As you can see, when I'm pointing at the screen there, I'm just checking the expiry date on the inks. SawGrass have been pretty good with this delivery. I had around 18 months worth of dates still left on these inks. I suggest if you're buying a printer that you check the dates on the inks as well, just to make sure that you're going to have enough use out of them before they expire. As you can see there, I'm just loading them in. They're quite large cartridges. I went with a full cartridge when I bought the printer. It also comes with a sort of overspill refuse tray for leftover ink from inside the machine. It takes a lot of ink when loading this machine, so don't be alarmed that when you see the levels of ink left once you've loaded it on the front screen of the actual printer and on the SawGrass web page that you use for your setting up your prints and things. You'll notice on there that they go down substantially when after loading, but there's quite long pipes inside the printer, so it's just loading up those pipes really and making sure that the jets in there are nice and full of ink. So again, just checking the expiry there on the yellow one, and we'll be away. Get these inks loaded. This is the TruePix paper that was in the pack of the bundle that I had with the printer. The TruePix sublimation paper is the one that SawGrass recommend that you use for high quality and work best with their printer and inks. Now, the ink is loading up currently, and I think it took around, there you go, 11 minutes for these inks to load correctly into the printer. It is extremely loud when it's loading, so I suggest you don't do any sort of voiceover work or make any important phone calls or anything during this process, because it can be very, very loud. Just loading in some paper now. Now, I did have an issue with the paper. I'm not embarrassed to say that my first printout, and I actually sublimated it, I printed it on the wrong side of the sheet. Just for future reference, or for anybody else who's wanting to buy a SawGrass, make sure when you load in the paper that you load it white side down, and it'll come through with your print nice and shiny and vibrant on the white side of the paper, not on the dull side. So that was just me printing out there some test prints. Oh, you're supposed to pull the tray out, Linz, save you falling on the floor. So yeah, that's the vibrancy of the test print. Now, SawGrass printing, because it's sublimation, doesn't look very bright, vibrant when it prints. However, as you will see later on in the video, the vibrancy does increase substantially when sublimated onto the right kind of product. But we'll talk about that again a little bit later. So this is the SawGrass software. There is a sort of tutorial that you can go through. It was extremely useful for me. And they show you everything, how to load up your own designs, how to change the sizing, so that you're printing the right size for which item you're going to sublimate. So currently I'm on my Canva page with all the recent designs that I've been doing. Just trying to pick out now the design I want to print first as my first test piece. From what I remember, I printed out Sunniva the Sun as my first test piece, and my first item I actually sublimated, which I did record, but it didn't come out great. The recording didn't come out great, not the sublimation. There he is, Sunniva. Of course, the world revolves around me. And I sublimated him onto a mouse mat, which came out really, really well. If you are interested in me going through any more in detail how I use Canva or how I use the SawGrass print utility and the SawGrass software, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to do an in-depth video tutorial on that. There he goes, there's Sunniva, look, ready to be printed and to be sublimated onto the mouse mat. This is the software with SawGrass. Luckily on there's all your mirroring is done for you on there, so that's already checked as a box, so you don't need to worry about remembering to mirror your items. Obviously they need to be mirrored because it'll make sure that any text on there will be printed out the right reading way when you sublimate your item. There we go, there's just me going through all of the little tick boxes on there for sizing. There's an option to choose what material you're sublimating on. At this moment in time I'm picking neoprene, which is the material in which the mouse mats are made of. You will see from some items, or if you're a sublimator yourself, that neoprene and anything like that is a little bit more dull in colour than the vibrancy you usually get from things like coasters or ceramics when you're printing. So don't be alarmed at that, there is a difference, but that's all only because of the porous sort of material on the mouse mat there. So there's just me making sure now that I've checked all of the correct boxes. You can actually tick which material you're sublimating on as well, just to make sure that the printer understands how much ink you need and that the level that you need for your particular product. I like to centre, as you can see that I've centred Sunniva in the middle of the page. I like to centre the product just so that when I'm placing the mouse mat then on top of it, it's centre on the page so that I don't have any sort of white edges there. You want to always have a little tiny bit of bleed on the outside of your product just so you don't end up with a white edge when you sublimate, but you don't want too much of an edge either, because one, you don't want to waste ink, and two, you don't want any ink bleed getting onto any of your machinery or equipment then. So we're just waiting now for Sunniva to come out of the printer and we can have a look at the print as it comes out. Okay, so as you can see, that's my heat press in the background. I'm just in front of me, just out of shot. Yeah, let me just move those out of the way. Just out of shot there, I'm just placing the mouse mat on top of my print just to make sure that it fits in well. Unlike me, please, you do it on a flat surface, it makes life a whole lot easier. So later that day I got really excited because Sunniva had come out really well on the mouse mat, so I thought, right, let's make some mugs, let's use the mug press for the first time. So just using my guillotine here just to trim up the Ichigo, the strawberry design. Remember that it's really important to have your template or your design printed onto the paper centrally. It needs to be positioned well. I'm using this, as you'll see in a second, as a sort of a wraparound print, so there'll be one Ichigo in the front and one Ichigo in the back of each side of the mug. I've gone for a bannerless print on this one. There will be mugs later on available on the website that have a full banner and a coloured background, but for this I just thought to make Ichigo pop a little bit, we'd use it on a white background. So I'm just trimming up nice and close to the edge, but not too close. So as you can see, I've chosen to do 3 different mugs, red, pink and a plain white. Just using a lint roller now just to get the excess dust or lint or any debris that could be around on your sublimation blank. That's the last thing you want, is to have any dust on there now to be trapped underneath your print, because it will affect the print quality when it's been sublimated. Most important thing now is making sure that the fit is well and that it's positioned correctly. Now you want to try and get it as even in between the handles as you can, and just to make sure that when you hold the mug by the handle that the print is in the sort of direct eye line of the front of the mug and the back of the mug. This is really, really important. So not only am I making sure that the print is even length or distance away from the handle on each side, I'm also making sure that the top and the bottom are in line as well. So I'll do that briefly there, and then I take some time then to cut some heat-proof tape. Some might say I'm a bit excessive on my heat-proof tape. I do tend to use quite a lot of tape. I would rather put too much on and be a little bit wasteful than not put enough on and it ruin the design, especially when taking it in and out of the mug press. It can be a little tight. But I also put a layer of butcher paper over this design, as you'll see in a sec as well, just to make sure that there's no ink bleed or print bleed coming off the mug and off the print into the machinery. So I'm just taking some time now just to cut some tiny strips of heat-proof tape. I went for clear tape for the simple reason is I didn't want to risk having any coloured ink bleed from any of the coloured heat-proof tapes that you can get for vinyl. I know I've got a couple of freebies that I had with the package that I bought, and I had some sort of gold tape and a blue tape. That was a little bit wider than this clear white tape, but I decided to buy separate clear tape instead, just to try and eliminate any errors. There we are. We're just showing you on there now, just to get it as close to the edge as you can. And you know, the utmost important here is just make it there, just smooth the edges over like that now, just to make sure that there is no room for error or air or pockets underneath there. It needs to be as tight as humanly possible without ripping the paper. Just making sure it's straight now on the edges as well as straight where it's close to the handle. Just pulling it as tight as possible and just using that heat-proof tape then just to adhere the print to the side of the Sublimation blank mug. Like I say, I may be excessive with the tape, but I would rather it stay there and stay in place exactly where I want it to be to get the best possible outcome for this design. The least amount of seconds that you can have, the better really. So just making sure now that it's equal all the way around, and just stick a little bit of tape on the bottom just to hold it in place there, and a little bit around the rim as well, just to be doubly careful. As I say, I do use butcher paper. I tend to use butcher paper that I've used previously, not to be wasteful, and I always use paper that hasn't got any sort of ink remnants from the last item that I've sublimated there. So just cutting a little strip out of butcher paper. Butcher paper is really, really good with the heat, and obviously it's not coated with anything like some baking papers or baking parchments may be coated, so you need to be careful using that when you're near a heat source, because it may transfer onto your products or onto the equipment. So butcher's paper is the best bet for that. So again, just pulling it tight. Like I said, it's quite tight inside the mug press, so just making sure that everything is firmed down and tight on there, just to make sure that there's not going to be any ink bleed from the design going onto any other parts of the mug or onto any of the equipment. So last couple of bits now, and then we can do the pink one and then be ready to go into the heat press. Sorry, the mug press. So that's the red one. So I've done one in white, one in red, and now I'm going to be doing the one in pink. I don't show you the whole of the process again with the pink, but I'll just show you how beautiful that design is. It's one of my favourite mugs, is the pink one. However, I must say that I think that for this particular Ichigo design, I think the red is my absolute favourite. It goes so well. I couldn't have chosen a better colour for Ichigo to match the colour of the inside and the handle of the red mug. Is just incredible. So again, lint rolling it and then taking the time then to be very, you know, if you've got time, take your time, as much time as you can, because this is really, really important for the positioning of the print and the design within the sublimation blank. Okay, so the mugs are in. As you can see, I've put 2 in at a time here, help with saving of the electricity. If you're doing 1 or 2, it's going to use exactly the same. And as you can see, when the timer runs out, you get a beep. and then the mug press will open. Always remember to use your heat-proof gloves when removing anything from a heat mug press or a heat pad as well, because everything is extremely hot when you remove it. So I couldn't wait to record the other one, so this is me recording removing the paper and the print from the white version of these mugs, although I will show you later on in the video how the pink and red turn out. I am extremely happy with how all of these turned out for my first ones. Like I said, I did have a disaster with my very first one that I designed for my husband. I printed on the wrong side of the paper, but I learnt my lesson from that. But yeah, as you can see in a second now, I'm probably being a little bit too eager to take this tape and the paper off. I think the print is fine. I just think it's just very hot still, and I didn't have the patience to wait. But as you can see now, when I remove this paper, the print, the quality is incredible. It is so vibrant. I'm so happy with how Ichigo looks on that white mug against the white background. She just looks beautiful and extremely juicy and very summery. So I'm very pleased with the quality of this mug. These will be available on the website very soon. So keep your eyes out for that. I'm going to be doing a launch imminently, so keep an eye out, and perhaps you can have Ichigo as part of your mug collection. Yeah, this is just the pink one now and the red one coming out. Like I say, I don't show how they've printed, but here are the finished products. My first sublimation mugs, Ichigo the strawberry. I'd just like to thank you all for watching my first ever studio vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it. These are just a few other items that I have been sublimating since making that first video. And one of my other joys, walking my dog Rolo. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any comments or any suggestions for future videos, please let me know down in the comments below, and please give me a like if you enjoyed it. Thanks very much. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.